and I'm going to be taking you through case study for November 2025 diets. This will be our first recorded class. Before I proceed, please confirm that you can hear me very clearly before I proceed with the class.
Yes, sir, we can
Anyone?
hear you.
All right, great, great. Now, what we want to commence is case study. And for the case study exam, is quite different from all other exams. And as you can see in front of you, you see that the time allowed for this exam is 4 hours. You'll be expected to spend 4 hours in the exam. And this is the last direct question. And that's the first. This study is different from every other exam that you'd write, which is why you're not going to find me teaching you a topic that this topic really requires that you are now on the verge of becoming an accountant. A case study exam sees you as a professional accountant. A case study exam sees you as a financial advisor. It sees you as a financial analyst. So the exam assumes that you have learned a lot around financial reporting, that you have learned a lot around strategic business reporting, that you have learned a lot around tax and financial management. So he put all of this together and he wants you to then be able to advise clients on issues, on problems identified, using all those knowledge put together. Then you'll be able to use it to provide advisory services. So in the exam, it's going to be a very diverse area in the sense that they are going to expect you to be extremely diverse, and we expect you to use a lot of professional judgment. Case study exam is not an exam you say, okay, I've read so well, I want to go. No, even somebody that did not even read anything can go into the case study exam and pass if the person has a good skill in applying professional judgment. Now, the approach we're going to use for this class is focused more on building that professional judgment in you. And the way the exam work is that all of the professional judgment you want to exercise, all of the advice you want to provide, you are going to be providing all that with a report, with a report. So it assumed that you can write a report. And I've had a lot of issues around, okay, when we are writing a report, how should the cover page be and all of that? We care less around that. So I'm going to show you an easy way to put together a report in a professional manner that is suitable both for your exam and in real life. And in real life. So all of those we are going to put together to make us solidly prepare for this exam. Now, before we go into this case, you see, this exam, the way it is structured, is that few weeks or few days, usually a week to the exam, or not close to a week because they don't want to give you a lot of time to have access to this thing. So they will give you something we call pre-scene. So pre-scene would give you information about a company, which is the first thing we're going to read today. Now, that pre-scene is what they expect you to read first and get yourself familiar with the company, with the industry, with the environment in which that company operates. Then, on the basis of that precinct, they will then ask you questions. You will see as we read on that the examiner will tell you that this precinct will not help you in the exam. Yes, they are right, it will not. That's if you don't have insights. If you can look deep, 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 so deep, it will really help you for the exam. It will help you for the exam. So why they say it will not help you is that it's not like you see the questions they will ask there. It's not like it tells you anything around the question, but that is what is going to help me, your tutor, to get you ready for the exam. To get you ready for the exam. And I will show you what I mean today as we proceed with this class. So this class is going to be focused on cases. We're going to be looking at cases and we're going to provide solution to problems identified in those cases using a report. And I hope that we should be able to do at least, if you can do maybe three, if you can do like 3 cases, I mean, before the precinct comes out, then that will be very good for you. And I will then advise you on what to be doing in between. I have done an introduction to you. And what I need you to take home from that introduction is that for your case study exam, you are an advisor, you are a professional accountant. They assume you have repository of knowledge. And before your exam, few days to your exam, you'll be given a precinct. And that precinct is what I would then use to help you prepare for your exam really. I will draw up a report for you, which you're going to study and the expected on seeing what it's going to look like. Then you're going to use that as a basis for your preparation. So now what I want to do now is to get you used to that ecosystem. Okay, ecosystem in the sense that we're going to study pre-scene, then I will talk to you around it. Since they have already done this exam, I will show you the unseen. I will show you how the present links to the unseen. We'll read that also. Then I will then give you a report. Then I will have worked on the report because on the ICAN website, they don't provide the report. They just give us an outline. So I will have actually given you what the report would look like. So I can't promise you for all the diets. I can actually promise you for 3 diets that will give you a full report for 3 diets. If you want full report for the last 10 diets, then we can get it for you, but it will now be at a fee to you. But I feel that if you have full report for 3 full diets, then you can use that as a preparatory ground for the precinct that will come out in May. That's when your precinct will come out. So let's quickly go through this precinct and let's see how it looks like. So usually the exam, it's 4 hours, right? These 4 hours includes reading time. So precinct. You can see what they wrote. They said this material is circulated prior to the examination date to enable you familiarize yourself with the case scenario so that you can undertake any research analysis that you deem fit. The present part of the case study examination is also published on their website. Yeah, true. You'll find it there. You must not bring this material with you to the exam. Upon receipt of this material, you have to spend few days to the exam to familiarize yourself with the information provided. You carry out additional research or analysis about the industry to get a relevant development. and analyze the financials provided in the preparation for the examination. You should know that the use of present part of the case study will not significantly help you in responding to all the requirements during the exam. It is essential that you carry out sufficient analysis on your own so that you can leverage the present part of the case scenario as appropriate during the exam. So this paragraph is, of course, telling you that, yeah, this will not totally help you, but I mean, it does. It does to a great extent, which we're going to see as we move on. So at the start of the examination, you receive a complete case scenario, which will include both the preseen and the unseen, which include the correction to be answered. You must use the answer booklet provided in ICAN, the examination hall. Any solution presented with other papers will not be marked. Oh, yeah, of course. So yeah, they're going to give you, yeah, the preseen they'll give you again. They also give you unseen together. So the unseen is the one you have not seen before. You only be seeing it in the exam. So what I would do for you is that as soon as your preseen is out in May, I will create a likely unseen, right? It is that we're going to use to practice. And the unseen I will create will not be far from what you're going to find in the exam. In most cases, it won't be far from it. To be very close to it. So now, assessment of the case study. So now, the way they mark. So the mark in the case study examination are awarded for professional skills and are allocated as follows. So the first one is assimilation and use of information provided. Now, they give 20%. So it's easy to pass this exam because of this part. Reading the cases alone, the preseen and unseen, and showing that in your reports that you have an understanding of the case is 20 marks alone, is 20%. For you to be able to attempt, do every part of your report is 20%. And of course, it means that you have actually read the case. So assimilation and using the information provided is 20%. So you structure problems and solution in the sense that your ability to link solution to problems, because of course the case they will give you will have somebody has a problem, whether is a problem that has happened in the past or a problem that is happening now or a problem that might happen in the future. So it has a problem. So your ability to solve that problem is 20%. And that's where analysis comes in. So I'm going to be doing a lot of financial analysis, majorly ratios, and also a lot of data analysis by doing stuff like contribution, calculating stuff like NPV, IRR, doing sensitivity analysis. I mean, a lot of investment appraisal stuff. Sometimes you'll have to do budgets. So analyze the budget. So I mean, those are the tools you will use in providing those solutions. So we are going to be doing a lot of analysis, really. And in some cases, we might have to use some models. A few times where they are really want you to use models, they will specify which model to use. Um, I'm going to speak to you around 5 models that we need to know. It's rarely asked and it's not really a major part of the exam, but it really helps for strategic analysis in some cases. It helps in strategic analysis. But the idea is financial statement analysis, financial data analysis also help with strategic analysis. But there are instances where there are certain models that you can use to advise a client, right? Like Ansoff, for example, now it's a very useful model. Or Potter's 5 Force. It's a very useful model. So then other ones like Pestel, like SWOT, all those ones are just primary. They're really nothing special around that, right? So the examiner does not really he does not place so much emphasis around those models, but we will look at it. And the ability to apply judgment. Applying judgment is for you to make conclusions, give recommendations based on the problems you have seen, based on the analysis you have carried out. like bring up something that is not even within the case, like being creative around your advice. I mean, that is what advisory is all about anyway. It's you need to apply professional judgment. Conclusions and recommendations. So you see me that in every of my analysis, I do conclusions and recommendations under each of my analysis. And after I've done that in each of my analysis, at the end of the entire report, I am still going to do I'm still going to do an analysis. I'm still going to do a conclusion and recommendation where I will put everything together again, right? So, and of course, demonstrating integrative multidisciplinary skills, showing the examiner that you are aware, showing the examiner that you have knowledge about reporting, because they will ask you about reporting, they will ask you about financial management. Those are what are more are popular in the exam that you find there. Tax seldomly, we hardly see tax, but it's an area also that they could say one or two around it. And of course, presenting appropriate appendices. So appendices, it's important, is 10% or more in the exam. So you see, of these total marks, so there's a 20% as assigned to executive summary. Okay. And I will show you why today, why they are giving 20% to executive summary. So majorly you find the examiner marking this area first. The examiner wants to read your executive summary first because it makes life easy for the examiner. He believes that as soon as he reads your executive summary, he can easily understand that, okay, this guy knows what he's doing because your executive summary has a little of everything you have written in your report. So reading it, I mean, already tells him that, yeah, it's worth the while reading the body of your report. Additionally, they also give 10% to ethics. They give 10, it's automatic 10%. As soon as you can speak on ethical issues and you can recommend a pathway for the company to safeguard against threats to fundamental principles, it's 10 marks for you within your report. So yeah, you find that ethics is not a specific requirement in the paper, but the ability to identify areas of lack of professional independence or objectivity, conflict of interest, doubtful accounting or creative accounting practice, unethical business or commercial practice, inappropriate pressure to achieve reported results. I mean, this is the exam. Your exam paper I'm reading. They will always give you all of this. You always read it. So, I mean, all these are there. Now, final paragraph. They said you should note that marks are not awarded for simply restating fact from the case. This is so important. The examiner is going to give you a lot of cases. I mean, a lot of people do pre-scene analysis. A lot of people do. When you see the guy, he was as part of his own solution to the student, he started categorizing all of the issues using SWOTs. That when you get to the exam, you categorize this as strength, this is threat. No, no, nobody will give you any mark for that. In fact, the examiner has already done that categorization already. He will show you this is the strength of the company, this is their threat, these are the opportunities. Nobody is going to give you mark for doing that. Because in the case, restating fact from the case without doing a lot of without making any judgment, without relating it to any advisory, awards you no mark. Because they're only going to award you mark for demonstrating professional skills and technical competence. You need to show from your analysis. It's from your analysis that you can start implying From your analysis, you can start speaking to the data in the case that, okay, this is why this is this. That from this analysis, we can see why the company is facing this. From this analysis, with these opportunities they have, they can do this, and this. That is, you need to show professional skills, imply from the data, not just restating the data. They will give you zero for doing that. So, for you to succeed in this exam, show sufficient evidence of knowledge of the case. You need to show that you have read the case. Be able to carry out appropriate analysis. This is so important. And suggest solutions. Demonstrates ability to make judgments on the basis of the analysis you have carried out and generate reasoned conclusions and recommendations. This is what the examiner wants. Show that you understand the case, identifies issues, do analysis of the issues you have identified, provide solution. Then, from the data given, use judgment to advise, then make conclusions and recommendations. So it's easy, but you need to get used to it. Now, they give us some exhibits. So the case study here is Folak Motors Nigeria Limited. They give us some exhibits 1 to 5, exhibit 1 to 5. Just to avoid, let me read the first exhibit. Let me see if it works. But I only want a scenario where class becomes extremely boring. So I would really want you guys to participate in the reading as well. And one person would do like a summary of what we have read very fast, just so that every one of you is participating in this. So exhibit 1, we're given 5 exhibits in this precinct. So the exhibit 1 is about you. So your name is Sylvester Shukudi, and your employer is Bagudo Ademola and Co. Chartered Accountant. So apparently, most likely an accounting firm. So you work in an accounting firm. So you are Sylvester Shukudi, an accounting graduate. You're writing professional level of the ICAN exam. You're employed as a trainee in the firm of Bagudo, Ademola and Co., repeatedly reporting directly to Dauda Bagudo, who is a partner in the firm. Your position requires a proactive approach to client service and technical competence in accounting, financial analysis, and business advisory. So these are your responsibilities: preparation of financial analysis and reports. You're tasked with preparing detailed financial analysis and reports regarding the performance of the firm's client. This involves gathering relevant financial data, performing rigorous analysis, and presenting findings in clear, structured reports to facilitate informed decision-making. Analysis of financial statements. Your role includes analyzing client financial statements, identifying areas of weakness. Upon identifying these anomalies, develop and recommend likely solutions aimed at correcting deficiencies and improving financial health. Third, assessment of business proposals. Assess various operational and strategic business proposals, evaluating how each aligns with the client's objective. Additionally, consider the impact of these proposals on the client's business, financial risk, to ensure recommendations are both practical and strategic. Evaluation of forecast and assumptions. You are also to examine this client's financial and business forecasts, scrutinizing the assumptions upon which they are based. This is to enable you form well-grounded judgments, draw reasoned conclusions, and make relevant recommendations tailored to the client's context. Strategic tax planning advice. Provide advice on strategic tax planning, guiding clients towards approaches that result in optimal tax liabilities and compliance with relevant regulations. Drafting analytical report. Based on your operational and strategic business analysis, draft comprehensive report for your client. Report review, ensuring that findings and recommendations are clearly communicated and actionable. Okay. So to effectively fulfill the responsibilities, we are required to abreast, to keep abreast of developments in accounting and transaction sector, as well as matters relating to business sustainability, both at national and international scale. This commitment to continuous learning ensures that your work reflects current best practice and supports the firm's clients in achieving their objectives. Okay, so this is exhibit one. I mean, as far as I can remember, all the paradigms, this would be your exhibit one. Yeah, it's always like this. It's always in this format. So don't expect, so they will tell you who you are and your responsibilities. It doesn't change because this is really what the exam is all about. These are areas you need to know as a case study student. You need to be able to do financial analysis, prepare financial analysis reports, analyze financial statements, look at a business proposal and be able to assess it. That's this business you want to enter into based on you guys' objectives and mission. It does not align, no, don't do it, oh, do it, oh. I mean, you look at models, you look at analysis, of course, before you can do such an assessment and advice. Should be able to evaluate forecast and assumption. When you see forecast, you should be able to look into it and make sense out of it. Tax planning and also drafting reports. This is what case study is about, and that's what the examiner is also emphasizing. And you're going to see it every diet. Don't forget who you are. You are Sylvester Shukude. Don't forget who your employer is. Bagudu Ademola and Co., who is also your boss, Daudu Bagudu, who is a partner in the firm. And that's what Exhibit 1 is talking about, and I have summarized it. I need somebody to read very fast. We don't want everybody's looking at it. I need you to, we just want to scan through it because we have read it before. I've sent this material to you to read. So this is like how many pages? This is like a 3-page, um, this is a 4-page exhibit, exhibit 2. It talks about Nigerian economy. I love this, it's interesting. It talks about the summarize this very fast. We look the economy and also they talk about service sector. They talk about challenges, the opportunities, and the rules of the government. Really, that's what they talk about there. So who can quickly do this for us and do it very fast? I mean, mass case within a minute, best to be done. Who is going to do it?
I can.
Please, thank you. Let's do this.
The Nigerian sector and the service sector introduction. The Nigerian economy, one of African. You screwed up the slide fast. Okay, yes. The Nigerian economy, one of Africa's largest by GDP, is driven by a diverse array of. Let me just open it on my phone. Okay. The Nigerian economy, one of Africa's largest by GDP, is driven by a diverse array of sectors, with the service sector accounting for a significant share of national output. The motor repair business stands out as vital subsector, supporting the country's extensive road transportation system by ensuring functionality and longevity of the vehicles used by millions of Nigerians. The structure of the service sector in Nigeria. Nigeria's service sector has experienced significant growth over the past decade. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the sector contributes over 50% to Nigeria's GDP, outpacing agriculture and oil in recent years. Its components include trade, transport, real estate, finance, information technology, professional services, and personal services. The motor repairs service subsector. Motor repairs, while often grouped under the trade and personal services, represent a critical link in Nigerian transportation value chain. As the country's urban centers expand and vehicle ownership rises, the demand for reliable professional motor repair service has surged, creating opportunities for entrepreneurs and skilled technicians alike. Key features affecting motor repairs. These are the following key features of the motor repair subsectors in Nigeria: informal versus formal enterprise. The majority of motor repair business operates within Nigeria's fast informal sector, characterized by small-scale workshop, roadside mechanics, and family-run garage. Formal enterprises, often branded service centers, represent a smaller but growing segment, typically catering for newer vehicles and clients seeking higher standard of services, skills, and training. Technical expertise is mostly acquired through informal apprenticeships rather than structured vocational education, leading to a variable service quality and innovation. The service sector increasing sophistication has begun to drive demand for higher standard and technical certifications. Access to infrastructures. The efficiency of motor repair business depends on access to reliable electrical power, good road networks, and modern diagnostic equipment, all of which are shaped by wider service sectors investments. Supply chain. Access to spare parts and technical information is strongly influenced by trade regulations, import policies, and logistics infrastructures within the service sector. Please scroll up. Okay, economic impact of motor repairs within the service sector. Most repair businesses contribute meaningfully to job creation, skills transfer, and local economic development by supporting the road transport system, which moves over 90% of Nigerian goods and people. They help sustain the productivity of other services subsectors such as retail and logistics. Economic merit of the motor repair subsector. Employment generation. The motor repair business absorbed thousands of apprentices and skilled workers, offering a pathway for youth employment in an economy where formal jobs are scarce. Entrepreneurship. The low barriers to entry in the sector enable the proliferation of micro and small enterprises, thus fostering economic inclusion and complementary service. Successful motor repair business often evolve into broader service providers, including auto, electrics, car wash, sales of spare parts, and accessories installation, further deepening their economic footprint. Challenges facing the motor repair business in the Nigerian service sector. Despite its importance, the motor repair subsector faces considerable challenges arising from both the broader service environment and its own internal dynamics. Infrastructure constraints. Power supply remains low and erratic, forcing many businesses to rely on generators, which increases operational cost. Poor road condition complicates access to clients and movement of supplies. Inadequate workshop facilities and outdated equipment also limit the competitiveness of the local business. Regulatory and policy constraints. The absence of formal regulation for many informal motor repair businesses results in inconsistent service standard and customers' trust issues. Where regulation exists, compliance can be expensive and complex, particularly for small businesses. Access to finance. Limited access to affordable finance restrict business expansion, investment in modern tools, and capacity building. Financial institutions often prefer lending to well-established businesses with formal documentation and collateral, leaving smaller workshops as a disadvantage. Technical skills gap. Reliance on informal training limits the sector's ability to adapt to evolving automotive technologies such as hybrid and electrical vehicles. Limited availability of structured vocational programs and certifications impede workers' mobility and overall sector professionalism. Supply chain and spare parts quality. Motor repair businesses are frequently affected by counterfeit or substandard spare parts, which undermines service quality and vehicle safety. Trade policies affecting the importation of genuine spare parts can also disrupt the supply chain. Digitalization and technology adoption. Nigerian service sector is increasingly shaped by technological advances, yet most motor repair businesses remain outside the digital economy. Limited access to digital diagnostic tools, online marketing platforms, and marketing software restricts their ability to scale and serve a modern clientele. opportunities for growth and transformation. Amidst these challenges, the evolving service sector offers several pathways for enhancing the performance and prospect of motor repair businesses. These include vocational training and certification. Investment in formal technical education and certification can improve service standard, foster innovation, and enhance consumer confidence. Partnerships between government, private sector, and international organizations can help deliver targeted training programs. The current government policy on technical and vocational education is expected to improve the ability of trained technicians in the subsector. Access to finance. Tailored financial products for small businesses such as microloans and equipment leasing can help entrepreneurs invest in modern tools, workshop upgrades, and staff development, infrastructure upgrade. Improvements in the service sector physical infrastructure, power, roads, and logistics will have direct positive effect on the motor repair businesses, enabling greater efficiency and customer satisfaction. Regulatory reform, streamlining registration and compliance processes, and encouraging self-regulation through industry associations can help raise standard while enabling small businesses to access broader markets. Digitalization, adoption of digital tools for diagnostics, inventory management, and customer engagement can revolutionize service industry. E-commerce platform for spare parts and services also offer new growth avenues. Quality assurance, collaboration with reputable suppliers and distributors, and the enforcement of standards for spare parts can help combat counterfeiting and ensure safety. Local production capacity. The volume of cars sold by dealership in Nigeria and the high demand for high quality and the demand for high quality services and repair workshops is an indication that the capacity for part productions and for certifications of technicians exist. The roles of government and stakeholders. The government of Nigeria, in collaboration with industry stakeholders, have a pivotal role to play in shaping the future of motor repairs within the service sector. The roles of the government include policy formulation, development of clear supportive policies for motor repair businesses can unlock their potential for job creation and economic growth. Public-private partnership, joint initiative between the government, private sector, and development agencies can deliver infrastructure upgrades, promote skill training, and encourage best practice. Industry association, strengthening associations for motor repair businesses can provide a platform for advocacy, skill development, and regulatory self-enforcement. The service sector is a significant part of the Nigerian economy, providing employment, fostering innovation, and supporting social mobility. Motor repair businesses, a vital subsector, is both a beneficiary and contributor to this dynamic environment. Strategic investment in education, infrastructure, finance, and digitalization, combined with the regulatory reforms and industry collaboration, can help motor repair businesses thrive within Nigeria's evolving service sector. The financial success of the subsector will sustain the nation's mobility, drive its economic productivity, and empower the aspiration of its people.
Thank you very much. That's very apt. That's more like it. So again, what this exhibit has presented to you is to tell you about the Nigerian economy and also to tell you about the service sector. And it shows that Nigeria is the largest economy by GDP. Maybe that was then. And the service sector contributes over 50% to that GDP. But the focus of the service sector here was the motor repairs services subsector. Motor repairs, the people we call mechanic. So that's basically what it talks about here. It talks about the features, which I believe that as she's reading through it, we should be able to resonate and relate because in Nigeria, it's majorly informal. They are majorly roadside. Most of them, most of them. The few formal one are service centers. Service centers by all these companies um, that sell like maybe a Toyota that has his own service center, or maybe an Hyundai that has his own service center like that. Aside that, they are mostly, you see them roadside, they help you repair and all of that. Usually in a free land that nobody's using or somewhere. The training informal, I mean, it speaks to the features like that. Nobody's saying you should cram this for your exams. It's just for you to understand and appreciate that subsector. And this is how it works. And also, of course, it has a lot of economic merits. A lot of people feed their family through this. I mean, there are, even in Nigeria, we have celebrity mechanic. I mean, the very rich one. So it's no doubt it generates employment. It encourages entrepreneurship, and it can also evolve. Complementary services can evolve into car wash, sales of spare parts, and all of that. Because you see all of these other people that open beside all these mechanic workshop, so just so that they can to be a feed into that mechanic workshop. Because by the time you go and say you want to repair your car, beside it, you should be able to buy spare parts like that and wash your car and do all of that. So, of course, challenges to that subsector, they it talks about infrastructure, government policy, finance, skills, supply chain, and spare part qualities, and all that. And of course, digitalization. So, you see, these challenges they are giving you, it's just for you to get used to it. Nobody's saying you get to the exam and be doing SWOT and be saying, this, no, nobody will give you any mark for that. It's there. Yeah, that's the challenge. So let's see, this is a data they are giving to us, a qualitative data. Let's say you can then use that challenge to advise that given these challenges, this is what we think you should do. So when we get there, we'll be able to relate. Then they give us opportunities for growth and transformation, what can be done from vocational training and all that. It's well listed. Digitalization, adoption of all of that. So, I mean, this can be a basis for your advisory. These opportunities here. It's not for you to start listing this as, it can be a basis for, depending on the strategic move of the company in the future, depending on what the unseen is speaking, you can take one of these as a basis for an advisory that in this industry, in this service subsector, this is possible, especially in this area of digitalization. Since it's there in challenges, that a lot of these motor repairs players hasn't adopted digital tools for their diagnostics and all of that. So this one is a major one. Another one is quality assurance and also local production capacity. So nobody produces locally, is imported like that. So it's also an opportunity. Then what the government can do, policy formulation, PPP, industrial association, and all that. And they should invest into a lot of these areas, education, infrastructure, finance, digitalization, and the rest. So this exhibit two is an eye-opener about this subsector, about the challenges they face, about how they operate. It's clear that they are majorly informal. It's clear that there are no formal skills they get. You just go and do an apprentice under somebody that was also an apprentice and became so. There are no certifications like that. Most of them they are trained on the roadside, right? We're not saying that is bad, but it won't be bad for them to be certificated also if that can be introduced at all. Okay, so that's what the exhibit two is talking about. Now, exhibit three now analyzes this exhibit three have moved away from, you see, exhibit two talk about the mechanic people, those that repairs vehicles. Now, exhibit three, that's exhibit two. Exhibit three wants to talk about sales and distribution, those that sell, those that sell. So he wants to give us information about almost similar information about what they give us on exhibit 2 about the repairs. So let's see what they have for us. So just for our own good, just to save our time, um, I will not, don't let us read through this one. I can save you few minutes of boredom by just doing a summary of this for you, hoping that you're going to read it. I should really allow you go through it and read it because you have no choice. You have to get used to reading it for the sake of your exams. But for the purpose of me teaching you, so this exhibit talks about um, those that sell vehicles in the country, and it focus it really tells us that most of them import from foreign countries. It's majorly import dependent, and they import a lot of these vehicles, and most of the vehicles they import is used. Not that they don't import new vehicles too. They import new, but most of them are used. In fact, 80% of those vehicles are used. And in 2022 alone, they imported 280,000 units. 80% of that was used. Okay. And because of that, they will need dollars. And exchange rates is also a major challenge. Is a major challenge. And because of inflation and depreciating naira and increasing cost of finance, it has made the cost of even buying these vehicles very high, importing them high, buying them high. So those that sell, uh, the key segments here is used vehicles, which we call tokumbo. This is imported from America, Europe, Asia, Canada, and all of that. They are all imported into Nigeria through network of dealers, independent people. So anybody can really import these vehicles. New vehicles also. So we have Shangan. Shangan is now becoming popular. Geely is becoming popular. Kia, Honda, Hyundai. These are new vehicles that are also imported through authorized dealership, and majorly those people and people that assemble in Nigeria. Not that they don't manufacture, they only assemble it, and they are just very small people here. So the way the people in charge, the distribution structure, they are authorized people that are authorized by the main people abroad, and they are majorly in the urban centers. You not find them in rural areas. They are the independent dealers, people that import used vehicles, and there's this online platform. These are aggregators, right? They will allow people to just upload whatever they want to sell so that people can see it and buy. Um, can you give me two examples of these online platforms? Anyone that does that? I think these guys are popular. Gigi is popular. If you check for any car, it brings out Gigi. I think there is car something something. There are quite a number of them online. So
OLX used to do that before.
sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said OLX used to do that before.
Yes, true. Where is even OLX? We are not. They have shut down. What? Not seeing them again.
I think so too.
Yeah, that's sad. So the key market drivers, what is driving this sales and distribution subsector is population growth and urbanization. We are plenty in Nigeria. In fact, we don't even know our accurate figures. We have been saying 237 million since 2022. This 2025. This 2026, we are still saying we are 200 and something million. We don't know our numbers. Our actual number might be well above 300 million if properly counted. But the reality is that we have the population, and a lot of people are moving into urban areas, and urban middle class is growing. So it's helping those that are selling cars because a lot of people, a lot of family, the median age in Nigeria is like 18. A lot of youth are coming up. They need cars. New families need cars. So it's a key market drivers. Infrastructure, you look at states like Lagos, Abuja. Yeah, there are a lot of road infrastructure happening. And these improvements of expressways and urban road also has impact on people that are selling cars. It's helping them. Also, government policy and regulation. So we are telling us here that there is a Nigeria Automotive Industry Development Plan that introduced incentives for local assembly and place higher tariffs on imported vehicles. So what these ones are trying to do is to encourage local assembly of vehicles and to discourage importation of vehicles like that. And access to finance also. There are institutions coming up that are giving opportunities for people to buy vehicles and without paying also. You see, that's one of the advantage of living in European nations or the US because of access to finance. I mean, in Nigeria, as a youth coming up, like a normal youth coming up, you finish school, you got a job, they're paying you 500K per month. It's so difficult to get a car as it is today. It's so difficult. Imagine if you had access to finance, where if you're doing 500,000 per month in salary, you can be maybe doing 10% of that into towards your car loan. You will get a car. You get a car. And you hope that your salary goes up. You would combine it with your side also. I mean, we need to get to that system. It will help a lot of industry and the economy will go very fast. So the challenges that is facing this sector is, of course, foreign exchange because it's heavily is import dependent. High import duties and tariffs. Import duty is crazy, even till today. And yes, we know that they want to boost local production, but where is it? Where are the local vehicles? They are also very expensive. A friend of mine wants to buy a 2017 or 18 Highlander. He's going to spend like maybe 15, $16,000 for acquisition and delivery to Nigerian ports. That's around 20 something million, right? So when it gets here, how much is clearing? He said we should be looking around 7 million. Again, that's almost 40% of the acquisition costs. That's huge. By the time he adds that, it's already hitting 30 million to do that. So weak manufacturing base is also an issue. That's why local assembly are not flourishing, right? We cannot just manufacture locally. A lot of factors. Is it production costs? Is it electricity? We cannot manufacture at scale. So that economies of scale is not there. It becomes a problem. Also, smuggling and informal market. So because tariff is expensive, so people smuggle, right? So it undermines people that are not smuggling and it will deprive government of revenue because people that are not smuggling will not be able to compete, of course, and poor infrastructure and insecurity. Now, the trends and opportunities in this sales subsector, people that are selling and distributing, is digital transformation, right? Because a lot of online sales platforms and all of that. Then there is local assembly and value addition. I mean, if you can locally assemble vehicles in Nigeria, it's an opportunity area, and also electric and alternative fuel vehicles. If you can go into selling electric vehicles, especially now that fuel is very expensive, those are opportunity areas. Also is after sales market and value chain expansion as well. So providing, selling spare parts, helping people maintain their car and all of that, even after selling to them. You could also do after sales service. And there are a lot of competitions in these areas. And in this competitive landscape, so if you see the next paragraph, they said Folak Motors is one of the indigenous business selling both new and used vehicles. So, the case here is Folak Motors. So this second paragraph tells you that this guy that we are studying is into selling new and used. If you miss out on this paragraph, there is no way that person will pass this exam. If you miss out on this paragraph, so they really want you to read it and they hide a very important information somewhere. So, yeah, good we saw it. Now, future outlook. What does the future of this sector looks like? So, there is growth for this sector because you need to go up to 320,000 units in terms of sales. And what will drive that is economic recovery, policy reforms that will encourage local manufacturing and continued rise in digital sales and financing platform. So the risk to achieving this goal is, of course, currency volatility, inflation, policy reversals, and which can impact market stability. So what needs to happen to ensure these risks are mitigated is consistent automotive policy implementation, expansion of auto financing solution, investment in infrastructure capacity building. So majorly, that's what this is talking about. And Folak Motors operates in this subsector, selling and distribution. We have looked at motor repairs. We can see that there are opportunities in that areas in terms of digitalization, in terms of formalization, in terms of certification, and all of that. It can help. But where this guy operates today is he sells and distribute cars. That is what he does, both new and used. And in this area too, there is huge good potentials and it's faced with its own challenges and the opportunities. And we can see what the government can do, what can be done in that area. So with this one, I understand the industry, the subsector that this guy operates in. I know that there are competitors. I know that a lot of digital platforms are coming up where people can sell cars online. I know that there are opportunities, there are youth around that needs car. And I know that there are financing options that are opening up. So I can position myself. I understand this exhibit very well, which I hope you do too. Okay, that's sales and distribution. Now, the next exhibit talks about analysis of repairs and service, and also spare parts sales in Nigeria. So this one wants to look at motor repairs and service centers and also sales of spare parts in Nigeria. So we have really looked at this before. So, I mean, just wants to look at it, analyze it further for us. So you see that Nigeria has a rapidly expanding automotive sector, and because of growing demand for personal and commercial transport, which has led to proliferation of repair service and spare parts retailers across the nation. Now, the automotive after-sales market in Nigeria. The automotive after-sales market in Nigeria encompasses wide arrays of services, including repairs, maintenance, sales of spare parts. This sector is largely driven by aging vehicle population, imported used vehicles, and challenging road and environmental conditions that accelerate vehicle wear and tear. Most vehicles in Nigeria are imported with a significant portion being used cars, further intensifying the demand for maintenance and replacement. Okay, so that is it. That is what is happening in that subsector, right? The after sales markets, because what Fulak does, this company we are looking, he does sales and distribution. But after sales, that market is huge. The people that do servicing, repairs, maintenance, that sells spare parts is huge. And it's driven by the fact that there are a lot of old vehicles in Nigeria. You look at it now. I said somebody wants to buy an Highlander of 2016. If you look at it, that's a decade-old car. Is a decade-old car, for God's sake. And you're spending 30 million. So those that are doing servicing will sell. A lot of these vehicles are used. They have been overused. Most of them in over 100,000 mileage. Our road and environmental condition, it accelerates the wear and tear of this vehicle. It's positioned to make this vehicle get old very fast. If you buy a new tire, before you know it, tire is gone. You have to, if you want your car to look relatively okay, you might be buying tire almost every year. You're careful, depending on where you live. Your shock absorber, uncle. So it's a huge market. So those that do motor repairs, their workshop, we have read this before. These guys are just doing further analysis, just for us to get used to what is happening in each subsector, the after sales market. So motor repairs workshop range from informal roadside mechanics to formalized branded service centers. If informal operators, they are the one that they dominate the market. Yes, because that's where everybody wants to go to. Except if you just bought your car, you might be looking for where is the Toyota service center? By the time you go there once and they give you the cost, you will not go there again. Except if your company paying. If you are paying from your pocket, you will not go back. So, and that's because they offer cost-effective solution, but they lack advanced diagnostic tools and standardized practices. But the former workshop, typically affiliated with car manufacturers or franchises, are concentrated in major urban centers. They provide higher quality service, access to genuine parts, better trained personnel, but their services are often what? More expensive. That's motor repairs. Service. So this one is evolving in Nigeria. It's not popular. So with more dealership and manufacturer establishing authorized service center, service facility. So they offer comprehensive maintenance package, warranty service, customer support. However, they are limited. Their reach is limited. And many vehicles owners still relies on this independent workshop for routine maintenance due to cost and accessibility. There's a growing trend towards digitization with some service center adopting online bookings, customer relationships management, telematics, and to enhance service delivery. Yes, people will not still go. It's expensive, but I mean, it's a subsector, service center. Now let's go to the guys that do spare parts. Spare parts market in Nigeria is extensive, is fragmented. It includes both genuine original equipment manufacturer parts, those that buy from the genuine manufacturer, and after sales markets, which is non-OEM, the ones that do the Ladipo markets, the logo market people. The prevalence of counterfeit and substandard mark parts is a persistent challenge, often resulting in compromised safety and vehicle performance. Major spare parts markets serve as hubs for distribution. The rise of e-commerce platform is gradually transforming the sector, making it easier for customers to access a wide range of products, compare prices, and verify authenticity. Okay, so they told us the challenges in the subsector from counterfeit parts, skill gap, infrastructure imports, opportunities, training. We have read all of this before. Now, future outlook. They said the motor repairs, service center, spare parts sector in Nigeria is poised for growth, driven by increased vehicle ownership and urbanization. However, realizing the sector's full potential requires addressing the challenges of counterfeit parts, skills infrastructure gap, and regulatory enforcement. The integration of technology and investment in quality assurance will be critical in shaping a sustainable and competitive automotive after-sales market in Nigeria. New entrants into the motor repair service center and spare parts could potentially be companies that buy and sell new vehicles, such as Fulak. Then they give us. Now, you see, last diets, I told my students, this last paragraph here is where the exam is going to come from. And it is from this last paragraph that I developed on scene. Let's read this last paragraph again. It's a new entrant into the motor repairs, service centers, and spare part sales could potentially be companies that buy and sell new and used vehicles, such as Fulak. Now, you see, Fulak, which is the company in case, we have established that he is into selling and distribution of new and used vehicles. Now, these guys, this paper, this precinct has critically told us about three subsectors: motor repairs, service centers, and spare parts. I told them that the exam is going to be about that Folak wants you to advise him which subsector should he diversify to. Yes, that's the only route the exam is going to pass. There is no other route. It's clear. So the examiner can choose any of these and say that, okay, they want to go into motor repairs, they want to go into service center, they will give you data around them, then you advise. Or they will even tell you that the guy has made his decision to go into maybe service center or spare parts, and you will need to invest so much. They will give you a projected revenue, projected costs. Then they will say advice. That is what this exam is going to be about. And that was what it was about. So I've shown them how they would go about the analysis, shown them how to do MPVR, contribution, any angle they want to come from. We looked at all of that. And that's how your diet is going to be answered. So the ultimate to your exam is precinct. When we see the precinct, we would prepare you for what you should do, just that the period is short, which is why we're just doing this to enable you get used to how it works. So they gave us unaudited account of FOLAC, unaudited. So that means, there might be issues around this also in the exam because they said it's unaudited. Why unaudited? Why can't they give us audited? So that means there might be problems with the accounts. And apparently there was, because when we do in this 2024, if you do 52,190 minus 11 minus 31, you see that it doesn't jive. Okay. So when we looked around it, we saw that this kind of negative, this 31,290 is supposed to be positive in 2024. So we spoke around that, we corrected that. So you're going to do that as adjustment to your accounts and all of that. So that's just this. And then they give us a financial position, and that was it. And that's the percent. So that is what we're going to have prior to the exam. They would give you an eye opener to the industry, and they will hide somewhere that only those that have eyes will see it, that this is what the examiner is going to ask you. I've been able to see it from this last paragraph that FOLAC is going to be making decision into diversification into any of these subsector. Then we'll wait and see the data they gave us to make decision. And also, the pricing has also given us a lot of eye opener around these subsectors. They have told us that those that are into spare parts in this after sales market entirely, generally, has huge potential. Huge, because we use a local in Nigeria is used vehicles that we use here. And the road infrastructure is not so good. So people will need to always service. They will need to always buy spare parts. It's a huge market, no doubt. Okay, so what I've done for you in case of revision, I did a summary, okay, of this precinct so that you have to go through all of that again. I summarized it. So I just essentially go through it because you have to get used to going through it and going through it very fast, very fast. So the examiner is going to give you 1 hour for reading and planning. They will give you 1 hour for reading and plan that. Out of the 3 hours, don't start solving. Just read. Just understand what you have in front of you. Read it. Identify the issues. And that's what that reading and planning really wants you to do. Identify the issues. Okay, so I've summarized this to you for you. You can just go through it. And I did some notes around it too. So that's the precinct. Now, when you get to the exam, they will give you unseen. This is the one you have not seen. Now, the unseen has exhibit 6 to exhibit 9. Now, so this is the first thing you see in the unseen. They'll say, we are talking about Fulak Motor Nigeria Limited case study required. Again, you are Shukude Sylvester. Sylvester Shukude. That is who you are. An accounting graduate, writing the professional level of ICAN examination. You are employed as a trainee in the firm of Bagude Ademola and Co. And you are reporting to Dauda Bagudu, a partner in the firm. Requirements. You are required to prepare a draft report as set out in the email dated October 2nd, 2025 from Dauda Bagudu to you in Exhibit 6. Your report should comprise an executive summary and responses to 2 detailed requirements set out in Exhibit 2, Exhibit 6, including appropriate appendices. So this is what the examiner wants you to do. It's clear. Drafts. Prepare a draft report. It's a draft. It's not a final report because you are going to be writing it to your own boss. Your boss have to review it before it goes out to your client. You're not writing, so it's a draft report. And they are clear what they want you to do. An executive summary is 20 marks. They already told you in your precinct. The executive summary is 20 marks. The minute is 20. You do it at 20, you do it at 0. So you'll be battling for 80, which puts you in a very risky position. Secondly, respond to 2 detailed requirements. So we need to watch out for those 2 detailed requirements. Now, it says, state clearly any assumptions you have made or working attached to your answer. Following time allocation is suggested. Reading and planning 1 hour. I think I mentioned already. Your reading and planning, spend 1 hour for that. Performing calculations and financial analysis, 1 hour. Report, 2 hours. So my student came out last night. They said, we spend a lot of time on calculation, so we didn't finish. We didn't finish and all of that. I asked, do you do your appendix? They say, yes, now that was where we spend a lot of time. Did you do your executive summary? Yes, 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 yes. Did you finish your analysis? No, we did not finish that. No problem. No problem. But at least you're able to write those key parts of the report as I've told you. And I mean, over 90% or 95% of them passed. the last diet. The few that didn't pass, I really don't understand why. So the mark allocation, we already saw this in the pre-scene. They are saying it again that you need to understand the information is about and find solution, apply judgment, conclusions and recommendations. Let it be plenty. You need to, this is where judgment comes in, conclusion and recommendation. Don't, don't just spare any conclusion that comes to your mind at any point in time and recommendations. I mean, give it to them. So demonstrating creative skills and multidisciplinary skills appendices is very important. And they talk about 20% for executive summary, 10% for editing. And they said ensure you address the two requirements. Failure to address any requirement, including not submitting an executive summary, will affect your chances of success. In addition, as in the other above, all four skills areas will be addressed under each of the elements of your report. Accordingly, not demonstrating your judgment or failure to include conclusion and recommendation in your report will adversely affect your chances of success. So you need to maximize your 4 hours. Planning and reading, that's where you read. And it is at that within 1 hour is where you would plan. And this planning really requires you identify. I will show you the way me I've planned my own answer. I will show you everything. After I've read, I plan exactly what I want to do, how I want to go about it, what I want to do in appendix, what I want to do with requirement one, what I want to do with requirement two. I already know what I want to do. And I'm allotting time to each of them because as soon as my time is up for a section, I'm moving, movement. I'm moving to another section. I move. So it's just for you to identify the key analysis that needs to be done before you move to the next phase. Now, exhibit 6, very, very important because this is where they will tell you what you're supposed to do. Now, this is an email from your boss, Dauda, to you, Sylvester. So from Dauda to Sylvester on October 2nd, 2025. Fuller Motors, Nigeria Limited. That's your client. So background and strategic objective. Yeah, sorry. Can you just give me one? So they gave us the background and strategic objective. So my boss said Fuller Motors Nigeria Limited is pursuing a strategic objective to expand its operations within Nigeria. As part of this plan, the company proposes to establish a modern vehicle repair garages in Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt. This initiative aims to capitalize on the opportunities present in the Nigerian vehicle repair market. Please prepare a draft report prior to submission to the board of FOLAC, bearing in mind the required evaluation and specific tax for the report. Okay, so that means we were correct. The strategic move of FOLAC is to establish motor vehicle repair. So they are not going to service center, they are not going to spare parts sales, but they are going to motor repairs garages. And they want to have 3 garages, Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt. So my student for last diet were lucky. It wouldn't have gone either way anyway. It will have gone this way. That's what it would be because it's clear. Fine, so we're correct. Now, beyond being correct, you need to be able to play around. You need to be able to carefully understand the specific information they are going to give you, which we cannot give you prior to your exams, right? We'll give you the idea, but when it comes to specificity, you need to pay maximum attention to the exhibits. So they give us summary of the exhibits. They say we have received the business environment in exhibit 2, 3, and 4 from our research and development unit. That's the pre-scene that we read already. And exhibit 5, 7, 8, and 9 from FOLAC. So exhibit 5 is the financials of the organizations for 2023 and 2024, which we have in the pre-scene already. Exhibit 7 is the engagement email from Fulak Motors, finance directors, Taiwo Folajimi. Exhibit 8 is additional information on the 2024 financial statement and other issues, while Exhibit 9 is the information on the proposed diversification strategy of Fulak Motors. Okay. Now, required evaluations. The company requests an evaluation of the summary financial statements for the year 2024, including comparison with 2023 figures. This analysis should consider any necessary corrections based on the additional information provided in Exhibit 8 as communicated by Polak's finance director. So this paragraph is telling us that we need to do an evaluation of their financials. So that means you'll be doing ratio analysis. That's it. That's it. So, and they mentioned something. They said this analysis should consider any necessary corrections. A lot of students missed out on this, and it really impacted on them, because that means if there is any corrections to be made from the additional information given in Exhibit 8, that means for them to say this, that means there is definitely correction that has to be made from information given in Exhibit 8. All right. So we need to watch that. They said, in addition, the director seeks an assessment of the financial details regarding the proposed modern motor vehicle repair garage project. Information relevant to this project is attached as Exhibit 9. The board has indicated that they expect such a project to achieve a minimal IRR of 20% by the end of its first 5 years of full operations. So a lot of information are given here. A lot of my students missed out on this here. So in this paragraph, this second paragraph saying that we also need to do an assessment of the financial details of the proposed modern repair vehicle project, right? And the company is expecting an IRR of 20%. That's their minimum expected IRR by its first 5 years of full operations. That means when you're calculating your NPV, the period should be based on 5 years. The period should be based on 5 years. The period should be based on 5 years. The specific task. Number one, we're asked to provide an evaluation of the 2023 and 2024 financial statement, focusing on performance, financial position, and future prospects, whilst identifying and addressing potentially unethical practices in the information provided. Ensure that this assessment reflects all relevant information per Exhibit 5 and 8. So this is the first requirement of this exam. You're supposed to do an evaluation of 2023 and 2024 reports, and also addressing potentially unethical practices. Number two, with respect to the expansion plan, that's the requirement. So A1, evaluate the viability of the proposed modern vehicle repairs garages using financial information provided by Fuller. Determine whether the project is likely to meet the board expectations, specifically the required IRR. So, I mean, just to evaluate and see if they can meet the IRR. So that means you're supposed to most likely determine an IRR given the information they will have provided to you, and use that to advise. So you need to do some evaluation, and also we are going to do an evaluation of the adequacies of FOLAC's current governance and management structure to effectively support its proposed diversification into repairs and spare part sales, highlighting any adjustments needed to ensure oversight and accountability. So you need to also evaluate the adequacy of their governance and management structure. Can that support the proposed diversification? You need to look at that also. 2B says you explain your advisory report how the company can utilize e-commerce or booking platforms to drive customers acquisition retention for its proposed vehicle servicing and spare parts business. So you need to also speak to e-commerce. How can e-commerce help to drive customer acquisition and retention? You need to speak to that. So I look forward to receiving the draft report. Kind regards, Bagudu. So your boss wrote you this. This is a very important part of this unseen because this is what they want you to do. And it's very clear, specifically what the examiner wants. You need to address this in your report. Your inability to do that means you might not do well in that exam. You need to address each of them. And you agree with me that this requirement is different from the way other questions are asked in other diets. So, yeah, so let's read on. Now, Exhibit 7 is the email from our client to my boss. So you see that this one will be repeating what your boss have told you and all of that. So let's just go through it. So Tubagudu from Taiwo, dates and all of that. You see the way their own cover is. See the way they are writing their cover. You too, when you want to write your report, so somebody should now be asking me, is he an internal report? Is he an external? Don't bother. You don't stress yourself around. That's the least of your worry. Is he internal? Is he external? You're supposed to don't just is to from date subject. Move on. They hardly would give you any mark for that, self. So nobody cares about that to a great extent because most of the reports we do in real life, the cover page, you write the subject, the name of the client, the name of your company, the dates. That's it. If you are doing it internally, you just write it to your boss, either through email. So you see, and I'll be very consistent with how the cover will look. So that in the exam, you just quickly write that and move. So, dear Dauda, I hope this message finds you well. As part of our ongoing strategic objective to broaden our operational footprint within Nigeria, the company is proposing the establishment of modal vehicle repairs garages in three key cities, Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt. This initiative is intended to leverage the significant opportunities currently available in Nigeria vehicle repairs market. The board has requested a comprehensive evaluation of the summary financial statements for the year 2024 alongside a comparative analysis with 2023 figures. The assessment should consider any adjustments that may be necessary, particularly in the light of the additional information on the 2024 financials that I've attached to this email. In addition, the board would like you to conduct an evaluation of the proposed modern motor vehicle repairs garage project. Relevant details pertaining to this project have also been included in the attachments. The board expects that the project should deliver minimum internal rate of return of 20% within the first 5 years of the full operation. Ahead of the proposed expansion, the board also requires your appraisal of Fulak Motors governance and management structure. This is to ensure that the current structure is sufficiently robust to support the proposed diversification. I would appreciate receiving your report on these matters within the next month, as the board intends to review findings at the upcoming board meeting scheduled for the first week of December. This meeting will also address the approval of the company's financial plan for 2026. As always, I'm confident in your ability to deliver within the stipulated time frame. Best regards, style. So you see that it's the information my boss got from the finance director of Fulak Motors. That was what he used to structure this. And the way he has structured it is, so he has really structured it so well for me that I can easily know that, okay, this is requirement one, this is requirement two. That's what this exhibit 7 is repeating. Now, exhibit, let's go to exhibit 8. Okay, let's have another person to read up this for us aside our first trader, which is Pelumi. There's another person also read and speak to this.
Remember that? Okay, I'll go ahead. Um, sorry. Additional information on 2024 financial statement from Taiwo Folajimi, Finance Director, Folak Motors, to Daudu Bogudu from Taiwo Folajimi, dates October 17, 2025. Board dynamics. The board of Folak Motors is composed mostly of family members. The organization has a board chairman, a chief executive officer, a director of finance, a director of admin, and director of sales. There are no independent directors. Regional managers report directly to the chief executive officer with minimal checks. Performative targets. The performance targets are basically sales volumes. Currently, quality control metrics are not part of performance targets. Warranty provisions. The company offers a standard warranty period of 6 months on all vehicles sold. In previous financial years, the management determined that the estimated costs associated with warranties were insignificant, and as such, no specific warranty provision were recorded in the financial statements. However, during the audit of the 2024 financial statement, the auditor highlighted that obligations arising from the warranties have now become material to the financial position of the company. As a result, management recognizes the need to adjust the 2024 financial statement to include provisions for unexpired warranties. The sales director has provided the following estimates regarding the vehicle still covered under warranty. The total value of vehicles currently under warranty is estimated at 500 million naira. Based on the historical trend of past experiences, the company expects the pattern of warranty claims to be as follows. 80% of vehicles under warranty are expected to require no repairs or associated costs. 12% are anticipated to require minor repairs with costs estimated at 30% of the respective sales price. 12% are anticipated to require major repairs, which cost estimated at 70% of the respective sales price. Vehicle recall. In the course of 2024, approximately 10% of the vehicles sold developed brake systems malfunction, primarily due to extended periods spent in inventory prior to sales. To maintain the company's reputation and ensure customer safety, a recall program was initiated for comprehensive repairs to the affected vehicle. The financial implications of the recall are as follows. Sales values of all recalled vehicles are estimated at 450 million naira. Major repairs are required for vehicles with sales value of 260 million naira, with the repairs cost estimated at 10% of the sales value. Minor repairs are required for vehicles with sales value of 190 million naira, with repair cost estimated at 5% of the sales value. Administrative costs related to the recall process are estimated at 5 million naira. Provisions for old model vehicles. The auditor also identified a stock of old model vehicles in the company's inventory. These vehicles can no longer be sold at their original cost to the company. As such, a provision has been recommended to reflect their diminished value. The original cost of these vehicles was 80 million naira when imported. However, the Current estimated realizable value is now 45 million naira. The company will therefore recognize a provision to account for the difference between the original cost and the current value. Management of Fulak Motors attributed the loss in value of the old vehicles to sorry, please scroll to slow demands and depreciation. Record further reveals that delayed management decisions on discount approvals, poor stock rotation policy, and absence of board level monitoring of inventory aging as soon as possible factors. Polak Motors currently has no early warning system for slow moving stock. Okay. Payment to unregistered customer agents. During the audit, payment of 50 million naira was identified as being made to an individual who does not have any direct business dealings with the company. This transaction was brought into question by the auditor, given the absence of a clear connection between the recipient and the company's operation. Upon further investigation, I clarified that the payment was intended as a public relations gesture to a customer's agent. This action was associated with the supply of 100 vehicles to a customer during the year. My explanation confirmed that although the recipient was not directly involved in the company's transaction, the payment was linked to efforts to facilitate and maintain positive relationship with the customer in relation to this significant supply contract. Internal audit findings, odometer tampering. In September 2024, the company internal audit revealed that certain regional managers had engaged in the practice of tampering with odometer readings on important used vehicles held in inventory. This action was primarily motivated by the bonus system in place, which directly rewarded managers based on timely deliveries and achievement of volume targets. The auditor concluded that this behavior could only contravene established company policies, but also breach regulatory standards pertaining to vehicle safety and the transparency of business operation. The manipulation of odometer readings compromised the integrity of sales records and undermined customer trust, raising significant concerns regarding the compliance with extant policies within the organization. Please feel free to reach out with any further inquiries that would facilitate the board's reports. Best regards, Taiwo, Exhibit 9.
Fashion, thank you very much. So, a lot has been given, a lot of data that I can see as you were reading. I was just thinking through it, and I can see a lot of information that will help my evaluation of the financial statement of FOLAC for the 2 years that we are asked to do. And also I can see some ethical issues that are actually coming up. I can see some governance issues because these are the areas that the examiner asked me to speak to, and I can see a lot of them in this Exhibit 8. Like the first paragraph that talks about the board dynamics, I can see that it's majorly comprised of family members, and they don't even have an independent director. And regional managers report directly to CEO with minimal checks. So those are board issues. Those are board issues that I need to flag in my reports. That there's nothing, we are not saying family member business is not, there's nothing wrong with it. But the fact that there is no independent director, also the fact that the regional manager reports to CEO with minimal check right? There needs to be a director in between. There has to be check. There has to be an aggregator that will check before it gets to the CEO at the end of the day. So those are board issues. Those are governance issues that I need to speak to and advise. These were my judgments to come up. Performance targets. I can see that they give each of these branches the way Folak does right now. It gives each of them performance targets basically on sales volume, just sell. So they are not focusing on quality control. It is not part of their performance targets. That's also um it might be it is an issue that I need to raise, maybe around ethics, around governance, risk, and all of that. I will see where I can put it in my report, but it is an issue. By the time I read further, by the time I do my analysis, I would see where this will affect them. So also warranty provision. Warranty provision here is that the company wasn't making provision. They give warranty. They give a standard warranty for 6 months, right? So, and they were not making provision for it. And which is against the standard until the auditor came and said, guys, you need to make provision for this. You need to, because the auditor saw that the costs that you people might bear is becoming huge. Oh. So the sales director gave the following estimates. He said that all the cars that are currently under warranty that we have guaranteed is 500 million. He said 80% of those cars require no repairs. So that one, there's no need for provision. But 12% require minor repairs, and we're going to spend 30% of the respective sales price. So that means we need to make provision for 12% of 500 times 30%. The same thing, 8% are anticipated to require major repairs, and the cost is 70% of the respective sales price. So 8% of this sales we got times 70% is another provision that needs to be made. So we need to calculate that in our appendix, calculate the warranty provision, then make appropriate provision. Also, they have a vehicle recall system. So because their cars spend a lot of time in inventory before it is sold, some of them develop brake system. So in order to maintain their reputation, they have a recall program that anyone who has a brake problem, you can bring back your car. We will repair it for you, right? So that's vehicle recall. So sales value of total vehicle that might be recalled is 450 million. So major repairs are required for vehicle to the sales value of 260 million, and the cost is 10% of the sale. So we need to make provision for 10% of 260 million for major repairs. For minor repairs, 5% of 190 million, and there will be administrative costs here and there of 5 million, right, relating to our inventory. So these are provisions that needs to be made. Also, this paragraph is talking about provision for old model because of there are some old models that we have not been able to sell. Though we bought it for 80 million, but because we have not sold it, to sell it now is 45 million. So we need to we need to write down the value of that inventory. Because an inventory to us, we need to write it down from 80 to 40. So we need to expense like 35 million out of this value. That's basically what all this is talking about. And why they're having this challenge, they say it's about slow demand and all that. That one is just excuses. But the real reason is the fact that management decision is very slow on discount approval, poor stock rotation policy, absence of board level monitoring of inventory aging, and Fulax currently has no early warning systems for slow moving stocks. That's the issue. And this also goes down to the governance, the tone at the top, because this is a board level problem and it's affecting them. It's affecting them greatly. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Fashion, I can see your hand. Can you go ahead before I move to the next paragraph?
Yes, sir. Sorry, I wanted to ask that I do not really get how one is supposed to calculate the provision for warranty. Like, if, okay, they said
Oh,
that
yeah.
you have to, okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I would still calculate it for you. I'm just speaking around it, so I'll definitely calculate and show you. And for those of you doing SBL, I'm still going to teach you provisions. I'll show you how to do this. But even if you're not doing SBL, it's not a problem. I'll show you how to calculate it. And yeah, it's really straightforward. So I'm just still speaking around everything now. I'm not going deep into the calculation itself. Okay, so the next paragraph talks about payment to unregistered or unregistered customer agents. So they flag the payment of 50 million to somebody that has no business dealing with the company. So the auditor asked, and the response the auditor got is that it's for PR, for PR, because a customer, somebody facilitated supply of 100 vehicles to a customer. So, and which is why it's like marketing um, fee, so to say. Again, this is a flag for ethic. This is an ethical issue also. And I mean, I could interpret it as that the company is bribing people just so that they can sell, because a lot of red flags are here. We don't have any agreement with the person, we don't have any contract with the person. So what exactly are we paying for? Or why are we paying the person such an amount of money and all that? So we're going to speak around this under ethics. Also, we saw that they are changing meter. They are changing meter. So just so that they can sell. They are deceiving people. This is also ethics. This is also that's the relevance of this data here. Is for ethics to talk around that. And the company is misleading customers, and it's basically because of the performance. Is it again? How did they put it? The performance reward, yeah, performance target, because it's basically is wants to just sell by whatever means, just so that they can reach their performance targets using this by, and they have not gone into tampering meters and all that. So that exhibit 8. Now, exhibit 9. So this exhibit talks about planned expansion into motor repairs and spare parts. So they gave us information about their expansion into this subsector. So the management of FOLAC has resolved to capitalize on opportunities within the motor repairs and spare parts sales subsector of the automotive industry. To this end, the company will establish modern, comprehensive automotive repairs and service centers in Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt. These centers are intended to deliver a full spectrum of vehicle maintenance and repair services, catering to a broad customer base and reinforcing Folak's position in the market. Okay. So this is the service they want to offer. So they will do diagnostic and electricals, mechanical repairs, maintenance, bodywork, parts and accessories, roadworthiness inspection or certification, air condition. So these are what they want to do. I don't need to start reading them now. So this is how that's that division will be structured. They will have mechanical division, electrical, bodywork, and spare part sales. So they have 4 units. So each unit will focus in its area of expertise, enabling Folak Motors to deliver specialized solution and meet the diverse requirements of its clientele. Okay, so that's the units they have. So their target customer. So they are looking at individual customers. They are looking at people that have small fleets, that have plenty vehicles. They are looking at spare part customers, and also they are looking at commercial accounts, local business. Yeah, so these are the customers they are appealing to. So competitive landscape, of course, there are already people in that industry already. There is local independent mechanic workshop that will compete with them. There is the authorized dealership, though these ones they charge high prices, but people trust them and they will do well. They will undo warranty work and all that. And there is the tire and quick lube chains. These are other competitors for them that are known for their speed and convenience. And there's the online retailers that sell parts and they are aggressive pricing from online platforms and all that. So to do this, they will need an investment. The initial investment they need to build the workshops, mechanic, all of that, 800 million. Aside this initial investment, they also need working capital of 100 million per garage, per garage, 100 million per garage. And this 100 million is based on operational need at the startup phase. And this will ensure that all essential expenditure are met. So the allocation of this capital is intended to cover various costs associated with procurement, staffing, day-to-day operational expenses, and other necessary outlays that will enable the business to function seamlessly from inception. Okay. From inception. Okay. So that's the investment. They'll need, so that means the total investment to start is 900 million. That's close to 1 billion. Now they give us projected revenue. So based on each unit, remember they have 4 business units. So they give us revenue. Of course, they were smart enough to categorize it based on probability. So they said high, this one, high demand, medium demand, low demand. They said there is a 35% probability that they will make 52.5 million, 45% probability like that they will make 42 million. And that's the interpretation for each of them. So that means if I want to calculate the actual estimate projected revenue for mechanical, I will do 35% times this, whatever I get. I'll do 35% times this, 20% times 35. If I add those three together, that's my expected revenue for mechanical. So I need to compute that anyway. So I will do that in my appendix for the projected revenue. And a lot of people I mean, my students, some, when we were reviewing this question after their exam, some of them missed out on this monthly. They didn't know that they're supposed to convert the monthly to annual. So they did all their assessment based on monthly instead of them to do annual. So you need to know that this is estimated monthly revenue. So they also gave us estimated costs. They said the following costs have been developed based on input from experienced engineers. These estimates provide a structured overview of the anticipated costs associated with different categories of work. The information reflects collective professional insight and is intended to support accurate budgeting and planning for the project. So they gave us cost estimates and the cost type, parts, labor, overhead, and all that for each division, mechanical, electrical, bodyworks. So this percentage given is percentage of revenue. It's percentage of revenue. So how did I know? The next paragraph says each cost item is expressed as a percentage of revenue for each business unit. This approach allows for a clear comparison of labor and overhead costs across different segments, highlighting how each unit allocates resources relative to its revenue. By presenting cost as a percentage, it becomes easier to assess efficiency and identify areas where expenses may be disproportionately high or low in relation to earnings. So, and they gave us some information on additional overheads. So the following annual additional overheads have been estimated for the project. So they gave us advertising and sales promotion as well as administrative. And that's the end of that on scene. So now that's the question. That's the question for you, which you are then supposed to address. So this exhibit 9 is so important because that's what we are going to use to the evaluate the expansion into motor repairs and spare part sales from FOLAC. So with this information they have given to us, they have given us the initial investment, they have given us the projected revenue, the estimated cost, and the cost breakdown at the same time, right? So this is what I have for you. So I have actually helped you for this, or you will not find anywhere. So when you want to answer a question like this, in your reading and planning, there were some analysis I was doing. There are some paragraphs I was saying, okay, this one will help me under ethics. This one will help me under governance. This one will help me under evaluation of. That's what those planning would do. And part of what you need to, aside that, I plan my reports. Now, this is how my report is going to be. That I know this executive summary is so important. It's because 20%, I noted it. Requirement 1, I know that the guy wants me to do financial statement evaluation plus ethics. Requirement 2, that one was structured into A and B. So A, you want me to do project viability and IRR. 2, governance adequacy. 3, e-commerce. So I've noted that. And my appendices. So I saw that I need to adjust the financials. I saw that I need to do ratios and I need to evaluate that project. So if you don't adjust 2024 accounts, your report will be very weak. So that's why I put it in my appendix. So I outline everything I want to do in my appendix. I noted it down. The warranty provision, the vehicle, recall, the inventory write down, and all that. And I did a journal to show where the figure I calculate, where I would adjust it from. And I noted that I will need to revise 2024 financials with all of these things, all the provisions they did not include. I need to include it in all of that. So I will still go through all of these in details with you. Then my appendix, I identify the ratios that I need. Profitabilities, usually these four ratios for profitabilities is important, is enough for your analysis. Gross profit margin, operating profit margin, net profit margin, we'll see. For liquidity, usually these two is okay. For your debt ratio, in fact, this three serve is too much. I might, because I mean, these three would expose a lot to this company. So let me just work with this. If I do this three, we'll see the importance. Then efficiency ratios. I did this for that. Then in my appendix 3, that is when I evaluate the motor repairs. So I got the initial investments. I will do the expected revenue. I will do the annual revenue. Then the costs, I'll break down the costs. I'll calculate my contribution. Then I'll do my IRR. So I have it in mind exactly what I want to do precisely. Then I started my appendix in details. So we have all the appendices here that we need to walk through. Now, after I'm done with my appendix, then immediately I started my reports. I started with my cover page. Look at how simple my cover page is. And I put a disclaimer in my cover page. I will show you why that is necessary. After I've done my cover page, then I started the body of my report straight. I started the body of my report. Based on how I've planned it. So my requirement one, all these are analysis. So it's quite a lot, but within my analysis, I was doing recommendations in each part. And I moved to requirement two, where I evaluate the repairs. Then all of this is just speaking to what I've done in my appendix, the governance issues, and all of that. Now, when I'm done with all of that, then I move to conclusions on each part. Conclusions, then I move to recommendation. Before I came to, before I even do my introduction, then finally my executive summary. So I would explain all of this to you in the next class, right? I can see most of you might be a little tired now. So just so that it's also going to be efficient, it's very important you're able to follow this through. So this is the executive summary that gives you 20 marks. So, and it's nothing new beyond what I've written up there. So I will explain all this to you in our next class. But before then, I would share this with you. And I promise you additional 2 detailed reports like this. Then we then wait for the present to come. So with this, we will have practiced, we will have gotten used to this, because what you're going to do in the exam is not going to be far from this. This is how you're going to approach it. So take your time. We have discussed the present. We have discussed the unseen. Now, we need to discuss the solution. So we're going to use another class again to carefully look through this solution, to carefully apply it, to carefully relate it. I'll give you this report for you to look at it before that time comes, or advise you to look at it. It makes your life easy. So I would communicate to you when that would be, then we'll use that to make progress with our class. So thank you very much, guys, for your attention. You have tried. You spent how many hours? Spent like over 2 hours with me today. So let's see if we can do another 2 hours to deal with this, with the solution. Mostly next weekend. We would see how we can make this happen. All right. Thank you very much. Go and rest and get ready for classes tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.
All right.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
sir.
much, sir. Thank you. Have a good night rest.
You too.